Jay-Z has just been accused of raping a 13-year-old minor back in 2000 along with Sean Diddy Combs and is allegedly suing the lawyer, bringing the case. Everyone connected to Diddy is finally being exposed, and it looks like Diddy is snitching on his co-conspirators to get a shorter sentence.
And a new twist in a high-profile lawsuit accuses rapper Jay-Z of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The lawsuit, originally filed in October, was refiled today to include Jay-Z as a defendant. The anonymous accuser claims the assault occurred at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party. Jay-Z has denied the allegations in a statement on Roc Nation's Instagram, calling the accusations heinous and urging a criminal complaint be filed instead of a civil one. He also criticized the attorney behind the lawsuit, Tony Busby, accusing him of exploiting the case for personal gain.
After Diddy's bail was denied for a third time just last week, prosecutors told him that unless he was willing to cooperate, there was no way that he was getting bail. Now, it looks like he's finally snitched on his best friend, and a new lawsuit has been filed naming Jay-Z as the defendant. The lawsuit alleges that Jay-Z raped a 13-year-old girl in 2000 along with Sean Diddy Combs at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party. The girl, who is referred to as Jane Doe in the lawsuit, allegedly has proof of the encounter and is willing to testify.
Rap and media mogul Jay-Z now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 along with Sean Diddy Combs. Now, this lawsuit was originally filed back in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Diddy as the defendant, but it was just refiled today to include Jay-Z now, whose real name is Sean Carter. Of course, he's the husband of Beyonce. The anonymous accuser alleging the assault occurred after she was driven to an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards. The suit says she was offered a drink that made her feel, quote, woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. Shortly after, the suit claims Jay-Z and Diddy entered the room where she was resting, eventually sexually assaulting her. And now, just in the last hour, we are hearing from Jay-Z and his team of lawyers. They are denying the claim and say that they are the victims of blackmail, saying, quote, I will not give you one red penny, and my only heartbreak is for my family. Joining us now to break this all down as it's happening, News Nation Law and Justice contributor, former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindoffer. Jennifer, thanks for staying with us on this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And so we just received a response from the victim's lawyer, really just in the last few minutes. Take a look. This is on social media. A lawyer, Tony Busby, saying Jay-Z has, quote, tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff, but his conduct has had the opposite impact. He goes on to say that the allegations speak for themselves, and he will let the facts come out in court, not in the media. What do you make of this real-time back and forth that we're seeing between these two parties tonight?
Well, it is interesting, and I think it's because Jay-Z came out so strongly and said, listen, I'm going to go after you, and then he filed a suit quickly on the heels of the other suit against Busby and the accuser. So because of that, you're seeing this taunting sort of back and forth.
The lawsuit has details that only someone who was with Jay-Z could have described, and apparently Jay-Z has released a lengthy statement denying the allegations. The statement, which was released just a few hours ago, says whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree these alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case?
Do you believe that we may see Jay-Z face a judge? And if so, when would we see him in court? Any indication there yet?
Well, we're definitely going to see him, I believe, on this suit. There are so many details. They describe a house, a driveway, another woman being there. They discuss about a driver taking her. So she's locked into this story now, and that means there could be additional witnesses to corroborate her story or refute the story.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned the specificity of the details really stand out to you in this filing. Do you find it strange that the filing originally did not include Jay-Z, just Diddy, and now Jay-Z is suddenly added today? I mean, does that make Jay-Z's addition in any way less credible, or is this not in fact so unusual?
It's not unusual when they're still digging up information and facts to prove the allegations that they're trying to make. In addition, remember, this 13-year-old says there's a female there. That has not been disclosed either. That will be very interesting because she could be culpable in this as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Do you expect we are going to be seeing other celebrity names added and refiled in other lawsuits involving Diddy?
I do. I think this really has a web that wraps around many different people, and I think we're going to see a lot more people named.
Tell me more about the details of any potential blackmail. We do see Jay-Z and his team really coming out swinging, making that allegation. Wouldn't that be a fairly easy allegation to prove? I mean, if in fact Busby reached out trying to blackmail him, wouldn't they have the receipts for that?
Well, what happened was Busby reached out and offered a mediation session, said that his client was amenable to that. I think that is what Jay-Z is sort of extrapolating as being some sort of, extortion or bribery situation. And really, that shouldn't be seen in that light.
Jennifer Koffendorfer, I know we'll be tracking this. Appreciate your time tonight as always.
Interestingly, the details of this case line up exactly with what Jaguar Wright and other accusers have been saying all along. Jaguar Wright went on Piers Morgan back in October, and she told everyone that Jay-Z was assaulting minors along with Diddy, but no one believed her. Jay-Z even sent her a cease and desist order. Now he's actually facing a lawsuit, and the same victims that he was pressuring are now rising against
necessary court fees and litigations because Jay-Z wants me broken, stopped, or under his control. And it ain't gonna happen, Sean. I'm never gonna be under your control. Never. You need to learn how to control your wife and her friends and their mouths. Because you got Beyonce in the Beehive looking real fucking dumb right now. 5 million unfollowed, and that number's gonna go up. Every image in one of those freak off tapes. And God help, if anybody here that really talks about people with her, they'll start unfollowing by the tens of hundreds. Again. And they should. Because the truth is, the only reason they were following was because of the witchcraft and the spells that were being pushed out through the media. Y'all ain't fans because y'all really love them. Y'all really think they're the best. You're fans because you fell for the hype. And they are hypes. I know I can sing. I've been able to do that my whole life. And they've been trying to stop me my whole career. Because see, unlike Beyonce, I'm not willing to hurt people to get famous. See, that's the part of the story that they're not telling y'all. That the more terrible you are,
Jay-Z has always been quick to shut down any allegations against him and his brand, and that's because he knows that if one victim files a lawsuit against him, hundreds more could come forward. The same thing happened with Diddy right after Cassie filed her lawsuit. More than 200 victims also came forward, and they all had proof.
For me, because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations of misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture of him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry can continue to rake it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected.
Despite all of her allegations being true, Piers Morgan was forced by Jay-Z to say that Jaguar Wright was lying this case, and the subsequent evidence now, however, proves that Jaguar Wright has been right all along.
The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform, as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. People making these claims have an audience with or without shows like that. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves. Now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with a legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like a proverbial prize of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. We apologise to Jay-Z. How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Porter?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Piers.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter, a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Jaguar, I've got to leave it there. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do care. Thank you very much.
According to reports from both Jaguar Wright and criminal defense attorneys, it's likely that this is only the first of many lawsuits that are going to be filed against Jay-Z. More and more tapes have come out in recent months showing celebrities directly assaulting minors in connection with Diddy 8 tapes have been handed over to the FBI, and there's a good chance that Jay-Z is in them.
Made a lot of allegations, right? Are you expected to eventually turn those things over, or?
Well, that's what we're going to head over to do now. So we have a hearing now to determine what we're going to do in terms of what documents we'll have to turn over and what documents we cannot.
So why were you reporting that?
just to give testimony to the grand jury. He was subpoenaed by the court, so as we all know, if you don't answer a subpoena, the marshals will come to your house as they came to his house and they will bring you here. So that's why we're here today.
I know you can't mention celebrities per se. You did mention some in the interview. So just to clarify, you can back that up with actual factual footage.
We have, it's things that we have, but we got to go to the other courthouse. So I don't know if that's any more questions, but we kind of got another hearing to go.
Are you nervous or do you feel cool?
Nah, I ain't never nervous. The only thing that's fair to me is God.
I know you did mention what was on the flash drive before. Would you be able to kind of go over that now, or is that something that you can't discuss?
No, we're trying to just go to discuss that now, what we will be able to talk to in terms of what was available and what was on those flash drives.
Okay.
But it was the book.
So it is Kim Porter's book, but not necessarily some of the stuff with the celebs that were mentioned besides.
It's hers. Nobody touched it.
Oh, so it is her official book.
Yes.
And no one touched it.
Nobody altered it.
So it's not the copy that the gentleman said that he was selling before. No.
No. It's different copies. That one was edited.
Tony Busby, the lawyer bringing the case against Jay-Z, has alleged that he will be naming other celebrities too, and that he allegedly has proof that will implicate all of them. Jay-Z is only the first of these criminals to fall, and with more than 250 verified victims, it's possible that we're about to see one of the biggest sex trafficking rings in the history of Hollywood go down.
Name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits. It may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public, and we name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of it. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex on him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn.
Despite everything, Jay-Z isn't going to go down easily with this new lawsuit against him. Jay-Z is desperately trying to keep the situation from going ballistic, and has even resorted to ordering hits on the people who are speaking out about them, both Gandil and Jaguar Wright. have received threats and cease and desist orders. According to Big Homie CC, Jaguar Wright needs to stay safe because this is when murders usually happen. Jay-Z has a history of violence, and he isn't afraid of the consequences.
She got song credits for writing for Al Green. Take me through them not wanting to let her in the club. She showed up to her place. Some of the people in there was loyal, and some of the people she was speaking out about, they wouldn't let her in. She wasn't going for that. She started setting it up. She started bugging up on the guys. They had to call the police on old girl. Oh, bro. Jaguar Wright get wild, bro. And if something happened to her, I just want to tell Jaguar Wright, be careful. She just went on Piers Morgan. Beyonce and Jay-Z sent Piers Morgan a cease and desist. Made Piers Morgan publicly apologize. Today, it's about to get dangerous for a lot of people. So you out here doing what you're doing, because y'all not me. So you better be on your P's and Q's. It's about to get ugly. This is what people start to turn up dead right now. Keep that in mind.